Welcome back to Identity Stack. This is Dr. Sarah Austin, Content Lead at KeyData Cyber. This time, I'm thrilled to be joined by Johnny Shin, Managing Director at KeyData Cyber, to talk about IGA transformation. Does it live up to the hype? Thank you so much for joining me, Johnny.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share my experiences, and hopefully this will benefit those maybe in the middle or planning for an IGA transformation journey.
Great. So before we get started, we'd like to get to know you better. Can you tell us some more about your background and your role at KeyData Cyber?
Yes. So I started my career in cybersecurity back in 1999, coming out of Indiana University. Back then, it was the dot-com hype. It was at the highest, with every company trying to figure out how to adapt the world of internet and e-commerce. And it's sort of like today with our adoption to agentic AI. I started my career with Accenture, and since then I've worked with other big four consulting companies like EY and Deloitte, and serving financial services companies like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and many other companies in the manufacturing as well as pharmaceutical and government and federal government agencies. And then the past 10 years, I worked with IBM, the global IAM practice, as an executive consultant. And finally landed in KeyData Cyber 2 years ago to focus the business in the US, where KeyData been very successful in Canada market, and last couple of years with myself and a couple other partners and MDs, we've been really focusing to grow the business in the US, expanding our capabilities and our IAM service across the other clients in the US based.
Our topic today is IGA transformation. Identity governance and administration is often touted as the holy grail of identity security, promising to solve compliance, efficiency, and risk all at once. In your experience as a managing director, should organizations consider IGA transformation a truly necessary strategic endeavor, or is it just a lot of hype?
Well, it is truly necessary, especially with the changes with the latest AI adoption. The IGA transformation is still relevant. And in some cases, it's actually a must to ensure companies can keep up with the digital and business and AI transformation, and to stay on top of the time to market of their business services to their clients.
Let's translate that reality into dollars and cents. Where does the real ROI of IGA transformation come from? Is it simply avoiding fines, or does a modern IGA program actually enable businesses to scale? Perhaps through smoother M&A integration or quicker cloud adoption?
Yes, the ROI, if not done carefully, it could also be very subjective and misleading. There should always be a clear objective set at the beginning of the program. And you need to know that there are actually direct cost savings and there are indirect impacts and cost avoidance that needs to be considered. Direct cost savings could include resource optimizations from transforming manual tasks to actually automating them. For example, there are manual tasks relating to joiner, mover, lever processes and access provisioning, but those are opportunities to be automated, and that's where the ROI, the benefits can come in. Depending on the volume of those activities, some organizations could gain bigger and quicker ROI than the others. For the indirect cost benefits, potential avoidance from the compliance, deficiency, and penalties, and even M&A integration costs. But this is a bit more difficult to prove, as there are other ways to address them rather than bringing the automation. Considering the future, the real benefit and ROI comes from the user productivity and experience improvements. From what I see, instead of having to figure out what access to request or grant and filling out the clunky request forms, this should be easier and smarter to reduce the friction. This is, where the benefits of AI will come in more and more. One, without even having to make a request, the AI agent should be able to figure out the needs and then provision those accesses automatically based on the organization of the data as well, for the HR, the title, the departments, or the role the person plays. And also the end user can also interact directly with the chatbot to figure out the accesses that they need, as well as fixing those access issues as well. So this is only interacting with the chatbots and AI more and more. It will significantly reduce the amount of efforts that used to take hours and days to a matter of minutes and seconds.
The technology is one thing, but IGA transformation is often described as a people and process problem. In your view, what is the single biggest non-technical hurdle that organizations face during this shift? Is it managing legacy knowledge, securing the necessary business stakeholder buy-in, or is it something else?
Yes, very good question. There are, I'd say, 3 key challenges that I would like to bring up. One, the data in the legacy IAM platforms. The data is the core success factor for IGA transformation. Where many organizations fail is the handling of those data. There are 2 key challenges with the data also. One, having the reliable identity data from the source systems like HR systems or Active Directory. And then the second is handling of the non-identity data that were stored and managed in the legacy IAM platforms. For whatever reasons, companies built and used the IAM platforms, the legacy platforms, to store and use those non-identity related data. As part of the transformation, those data needs to be figured out and deciding where to put them next in the key challenge. And mishandling of the non-identity data that were feeding the downstream systems could actually bring outages. Although it's not necessarily identity related information, but it still used to be part of the legacy IAM platform. So it has to be considered and has to find a new home for those non-identity related data that needs to be addressed to avoid any outages or gaps in the future. The second, the major issue that I see is the legacy applications. While an IAM platform is getting modernized, the legacy applications are still holding back the transformation, and they are still requiring the legacy protocols and integration methods. For example, having an agent-based sort of a way of handling the transactions and the requests, stuff like that. This holds back the new IAM to support the legacy, still maintaining the complications and customizations to support those legacy processes and the solutions. This impacts the ROI and retains many of the manual processes. Those legacy applications also needs to be modernized along with the IAM to gain the most out of the IAM transformation. And then last but not least, the executive sponsor support. I think this is actually really one of the key to bring success into the IGA transformation. But IGA transformation requires new adoption of the technology and processes. The legacy applications, the data owners, the business users would also have to conform to the new and get trained to make the most benefit out of the transformed IGA capabilities and services. So executive sponsors' job is to push that down, the new changes to their respective areas. Resistance from the working level will always be there, but the top-down organization changes would also be required to ensure smooth transition to the new platform and adoption.
Looking ahead to the next evolution of IGA, how can organizations utilize AI effectively?
Yes, so this is a really important topic to address. But if you kind of think from the past, when the dot-com days, the internet was introduced, the internet and then the computing power, what we were introduced back in late 90s and early 2000. The internet changed the way the accesses were handled. If you think about it, was probably done via the paper or by phone calls or stopping by somebody's office, administrator's office. Now, the AI will change the handling of those access from people interactions, what we used to have, to no interactions, but automatically ensure all users have appropriate access to systems and services. This also includes various types of identity types from human, which we are more familiar with, to the non-human identities like AI agents, chatbots, robots, and machine IDs. So instead of having to create tickets or sending someone an email, the users can simply interact with the IAM chatbot in natural language interface to figure out the accesses they need or new accesses that they need for their job, and then the AI processing those requests automatically and granting access to the appropriate applications and services with the appropriate approvals obtained by whoever is needed in the organization, all handled by the AI agents in the background. So more and more, we will see how we transform from the people interactions to the technology tools and forms in the web pages. Now interacting with the AI, chatbot is where how in the future is be more and more going towards, and then how the AI will start to be utilized much effectively to handle all the access related needs and requests.
So now let's get down to it. If a C-suite executive is listening to this and they're just beginning their IGA transformation journey, what is the one piece of advice you would give them to ensure that they can navigate the transition successfully and truly capture the benefits of modern identity governance and administration?
Yes. So the 3 points. One, assume the transformation journey will be a challenge. So you will need to involve the right and experienced partners and SMEs to take you through the journey, and get the right partners involved and the SMEs involved early on from the beginning. And then second, don't compromise somewhere in the middle to end up with a hybrid of legacy and new. Bring the modernization to the applications, process, data, and people, and trust the vision and drive that change. Last, push the team to think outside the box. Get out of the traditional way of solving issues, but use the AI and tackle the IAM issues in different ways. Don't limit the solution options to what you see commonly in the market with some of those common solutions in the IAM space, but challenge the options to something outside and encourage the team to take the chances and explore a new way of thinking for the future. So those are the 3 recommendations I have.
That's great. Johnny, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. It's been incredibly valuable.
Well, thank you again for having me, and hope my sharing of the experiences, resonate with some of the folks out there. And I'm always open to have a follow-up or further discussions around this. So people can reach out to me anytime.
Thank you. And to our listeners, if you want to learn more about IGA transformation and how it can be a critical enabler of business growth, be sure to visit us at KeyData Cyber, where you can schedule a complimentary workshop to assess your security needs and receive a roadmap to a secure, scalable IAM strategy for your organization.